Yeah. I have nothing to say to that. Okay. I really don't know what...
This is...
We're just making this stuff up as we go along, which is normal.
Before we actually start moving into our next segment, we'll talk a little bit about Icon. A little bit, and then we'll take our music break, and then we'll come back with what we actually... some other things we want to talk about, which, of course, is the 4-episode season. We're not going to tell you which one, because you're going to have to wait. So anyways... This is, you can go to icon.org for more information about this convention here in Winnipeg, July 21st to the 23rd. Definitely worth checking out. They have cosplay contests, fun anime screenings, competitive video game tournaments, which is a big thing here in the city now. I think almost every convention has a video game competition now, if I'm not mistaken.
It's becoming a regular thing. I mean, we both participated in video game competitions.
Yes.
At FanQuest back in April.
Yeah.
Was it April? Must have been April.
May.
So
anyways, interactive and informative fan-hosted panels. They have a maid cafe, sprawling marketplace for vendors and artists to sell their wares, which is pretty much the most important part of any convention, is their artists, their vendors, and so they've been doing this since 2001. That was their first Icon. To the guest, I only have one of the guests, but the big guest that actually has me fanboying is Mike McFarland, who was the voice of Master Roshi in Dragon Ball Z, Lieutenant John Havoc in Full Metal Alchemist, Baby and Baby Vegeta in Dragon Ball GT. He's lent his voice to video games, Smite, as well as so many other different ones that I forgot to write down, and because go to the website, check it out, because you're going to love this. This guy is phenomenal. He has had his voice in almost everything. And as a Smite player, I'm excited to hear his voice in Smite. Because that's kind of cool.
I think it's pretty epic that he went off and he has voiced characters from anime that I've actually heard of. And I mean, I'm not saying that to be disrespectful.
Oh,
but I mean,
there's so many different ones in other animes.
There is. We were actually talking about this before we went in there. I don't follow anime that well, but I mean... when I was younger, I watched a lot of Dragon Ball. I had a friend who would lend me volumes of Naruto, so I could go off and I could watch it, at home. And so I mean, I'm very familiar with these characters, and so to hear Master Roshi, that's pretty epic for me. And Baby Vegeta, pretty epic. These characters are. So I mean, I would be very, interested in going off and meeting him.
Oh, absolutely, and he was also in one of my favorite animes that I've actually watched about 3 or 4 times, Heaven's Lost Property, which is it's an anime of some angels that fell to Earth, and one of them was a queen, and whatnot. So it's very unique story that you definitely have to go watch. But we're going to take a quick music break, so enjoy our music. We will be right back, and we'll talk about the second part of our show. So enjoy! Hey guys, welcome back to the Captain Fizz and Mask Guys show. Once again, thank you all for joining us. This is the second half of our show. We don't run a very long show because we get very winded really fast. We're old.
Okay, I'm older than you. I could probably go on and do this for a while.
Well, I can't, because my stamina...
And I'm running on 3 hours of sleep because I went off and stayed up till 3:30 in the morning writing, something.
Well, that's your fault for writing things at 3 o'clock in the morning that make no sense. Here, I made a character on the last show in like seconds. Then again, he's the laziest, most ill-thought-in character, but I still thought of him.
I don't think he's the most ill-thought-in character. I can still name at least one that was worse, but whatever.
Well, that's true, but, 60-minute man. This is a 45-minute. Take away the 5 minutes or so for the music, so this is a 40-minute man. No.
I have no response to this.
So we'll jump into the second part of they just released on Netflix a 4-episode season for Castlevania. Now I've watched it. That mask guy hasn't. So we're not going to so much discuss the show, but more discuss what they did with it, which is, calling a season only 4 episodes. Now, of
that's
course,
not 4 episodes. That's a story arc.
It's not. That's
a mini-series.
This is not the first time they've done it. Seven Deadly Sins also released the second season, which was only 4 episodes. They later retracted that, saying that this wasn't actually the second season, but more of a build-up to the second season. So
that's like an appetizer for the actual season. It's something you go off and you bring. It's like you bring out some nachos, before the meal to keep the people busy until the actual meal comes.
No, I completely agree. And my biggest issue with Castlevania is,
Oh, thanks for ruining the show for me.
No.
He says spoilers. There are vampires.
Yeah.
Jeez, man, now I don't want to watch Castlevania. He's ruined the whole show for me.
Damn you, Weem. So anyways, the biggest issue I had with this quote-unquote 4-episode season was there wasn't quite enough to hook you, to keep you motivated to keep watching. I am more likely going to forget when the rest comes out, or the next season, so to speak, comes out, and not watch it. And I think a lot of people stand with me on that.
It feels really weird because you have a lot of... Netflix is, bringing in a lot of original content. And I know people, are kind of upset because the bringing in, their own content has led to them going off and releasing a lot of other titles that previously that were available. But, I mean, if you check out almost everything else that Netflix has done, they do this nice 13 episodes, seasons. This, almost in every, series that they've come out with. And so it feels very odd that they're only coming out with 4 episodes. Now, I do appreciate the amount of man hours that it takes to go off and to even do 1 episode of an animated show. So I can understand, from that aspect, and it probably costs, quite a bit of money, especially if you're going to have really good animators come in. But it boggles my mind that they would go off and do 4 episodes. I could see maybe, 6 or maybe even 8 episodes, but 4 episodes? Again, to me that isn't a season of a show. That's a story arc. That's like a teaser, an appetizer. That's not, something that's... obviously, you walked away, not feeling fulfilled. So that kind of tells you that's a very small portion.
It was like, looking at a menu and you see this big, gigantic, feast of a meal, and when they finally serve it to you, you got like maybe half of it.
Yeah,
and what's different between Castlevania as opposed to Seven Deadly Sins is when Seven Deadly Sins did their 4-episode, season 2, that was, they already had a full season
that's just it.
In front.
They had, exactly, you if you were a fan of, Seven Deadly Sins, you got a full season in there, and so you are familiar with the characters, so they bring them back for a couple of episodes. That's pretty neat. TV, they used to do that all the time back in the 1980s, where they'd go off and they would bring back characters, bring back the cast and crew from a specific show to do, special, movies and stuff. Saved by the Bell, Growing Pains, a lot of other shows, They went off and did that. So for them to do that, that makes sense. But to go off and say, "Hey, we're bringing out 4 episodes," and guess what? That's the whole season, and that's all you're getting for another year.
Do you believe that could potentially, I don't know, cancel the show?
I don't know. I mean, it could and it couldn't. I guess it could lead to people, who really like the show going back and repeatedly watching the same episodes over and over and trying to get as much out of it as possible. It could lead to, people going and watching and trying to see if they can find, hidden little nuggets and gems that could lead to where, the next group of episodes are going to go. And, I mean, I know that in the past, Netflix has went off and has brought out, literally, you've had to wait, every week for some shows to catch the next episode. And I'm wondering if that's what we got here, where they're just bringing out the 4 episodes, and then in a couple of weeks or a couple of months, they'll go off and they'll bring out a bunch more episodes.
See, I was looking at usually for series like that, especially like Riverdale, The 100, where they've done one each week. They'll actually have a list of upcoming episodes that are coming up. There's no list of it. There's no knowledge. There's no recognition of it. I know Ween was asking if this was maybe a prologue. There was no mention of a prologue as well. This is literally listed as their first season.
And that does feel kind of strange. But, I mean, it's not uncommon, in this day and age for them to do it. It is possible that they are holding back and not showing stuff. I have the WWE Network, and what they would do is that oftentimes they would go off and they would give out a certain number of episodes. And then you would have to go off and you would have to wait a month to go off and to be able to see the next, group of episodes. And I'm wondering if that's what they're doing. They're going off and they're specifically, giving you only 4 episodes and then not giving you anything else. They're not, because they want to try, they don't want any spoilers. They don't want to give the titles or anything. They want you to be completely surprised and everything. So when the next group come in, bam, you're on there. You don't know what you're in for. And you get excited because, like, oh my God, I didn't see this coming. And I'm questioning, whether, that's a possibility, or maybe they just, who knows? I mean, maybe this should prove to be too expensive a venture for them, and they really just decided to stick with the 4 episodes.
It's possible, and I know Ween was asking the episode length. I believe there were about 20 minutes apiece, if I'm not mistaken, which is really low.
Well, I mean, and again, the average episode of a TV show on, regular cable television, or network television is 22 minutes if you take out the commercials. So, 20 minutes, okay, that's a couple minutes, short of, where it normally is, but, that's not that bad, to be honest.
No. I completely agree, and, sorry, I'm reading this so you can kind of continue. I'm actually trying to find out the list of the episode length, and apparently they've actually considered this as a full season. It's been renewed for an expanded 8 episode second season. So
maybe they were going off and they were seeing if there was going to be a lot of interest. Now, Castlevania has been a great series. I only found out about Castlevania not through the video games, but it's actually through a show back in the late 80s, early 90s called Captain N the Game Master. And the Simon Belmont character in that was an arrogant aristocrat who, seemed more, he didn't fit into the role I would have thought. I realized Captain N the Game Master was very cheesy. That show does not hold up, and that's not just because, most of the games that were mentioned on there are considered relics, and most of them that weren't even classic. They would have, there was a game that they had on there where you literally were stacking parts for, burgers. And that's actually a game that Nintendo came out with. I don't know. I mean, I'll say this.